All right, so welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, you are now listening to our very first episode.
First one.
Yes, of the show Words and Melody. I'm your man, Words Taylor.
And I'm Melody Taylor.
Yes, and this is our show, Words and Melody, real life, real love.
Real family.
Exactly. So we're going to give it to you straightforward, no chaser. We're going to give it to you real. We're going to kind of dig into our relationship and our journey and where we've come from. So by no means are we the experts.
Not at all. But we're giving you the real.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. So understand that we've been married now for 9 years. We just celebrated 9 years on May 13th.
Woo!
Yes. And we were in the Bahamas doing that. And that was lovely.
Don't forget Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos.
Out here jet setting.
And jet setting. We were swimming with the dolphins.
We didn't get on a jet, though.
We didn't get on a jet.
We were on a boat. But
True.
It's okay.
True. But we were swimming with the dolphins.
Yes.
And, so something that you guys got to understand, that when you're traveling and when you take your lady or your spouse or your significant other on a vacation like that, if you guys are sexually active, I'm telling you, things are enhanced in that type of environment.
So, the first podcast?
I mean,
the first podcast.
We're keeping it real.
We are keeping it real, but you just want to jump right in.
I'm just saying, the experience.
Can you at least court them?
All right. So in courting, we've been together 9 years, married 14 years together fully. Got her when I was 19 years old. Don't let her.
He's a liar. He was 20.
I just turned 20, so
he turned 20 about 2 weeks later.
So if you guys understand, then that means I was still in a 19-year-old's mindset, all right?
Gosh.
So 19-year-old in mind and all that good stuff. So understand, that's where we've come from. So we've been through a lot as far as we've been through cheating. We've overcome cheating. We've overcome dishonesty. We've overcome betrayal. We've overcome hardships. We've overcome... in our lifetime,
we've overcome the drama.
Yes, drama, period, poverty. You'll hear us talk about a lot of those things. Parent alcoholism, failures, all of those things to get to where we are now, where we're, able to start to live our dreams out and be in a position where we can teach and love on other people. And I say our journey has had police involved in it and all of that good stuff. We're going to give it to you real. And it now gets to a point where on May 13th, we're able to celebrate, 14 years together, 9 years married.
Look at God.
And look at God. And 2 kids later. Mm-hmm. And here we are. Did I miss anything? I know.
You gave a nice overview. You did.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to kick off in our first topic. Our first series is definitely intentional. It's a strong one. This is no courting whatsoever. We're just going to dig into it. And so our first topic is
7 indicators that you might be wasting your time in your current relationship.
Okay, that's real.
It's absolutely real.
Okay.
I will say this. We violated a lot of these indicators during our dating process.
Yes. Yeah.
We violated a lot of these indicators, and there may have come a time that we thought we were wasting our time. So what I will also say is take what you hear, take notes, use what you can use, and toss what you can't.
Exactly.
That's what, not everybody's journey is the same. Not everybody's story is the same. And so, I guess, just use it as that, take what you can take.
Yeah. And again, we're not experts, but we have the expert experience. I would say that because this journey is no punk.
No.
I'm telling you, especially when you talk about marriage, and because this woman right here, I'm telling y'all, I love my wife.
Anybody who knows you knows how blessed I am.
All right, so let's dig into it. So this is going to be now I know it may sound long, but if you guys, have ever followed us or myself on any of our social media, which you can follow wifey at
Miss Melody Taylor.
Yes, and you can follow me at Words Taylor. So that's on all social media, Snapchat, Instagram, all that, youtube.com/Words Taylor.
Just Melody is YouTube.
Yes, and on YouTube, baby, is just Melody. And so what I will say is you guys will understand we do stuff in series. I like to have series going, so something you can follow, something that builds on, something where we're actually teaching. We're like teachers by nature, not teachers as in classroom, but teachers of people. And so, do you want to reveal our very first topic? This is going to be a 10-week series. So you guys are definitely locked in for 10 weeks. There are 10 different topics that we're doing. And this is going to be topic number 1. This is one of the 10-week series of the reasons why. And so we changed it.
Right, because I was confused.
Yeah, because it was 7. We said we were going to do.
It's not 7.
It's
but
10.
It's just, yes, it is.
It's
and
10.
So the overall series is 10 indicators that you're wasting your time in your current
So it's 10 because we were going to do 7, but there was 3 like, no, we can't leave these out. So it's actually 10 things, 10 indicators that you're wasting your time in your relationship. And we're definitely feeling like these are valuable. So let's get to
There is no order. This is just what we chose to go with today, but this doesn't mean that this is number 1, this is the worst, or this is number 10 that ain't that bad.
Exactly. So, do you want to start off with our first topic of the day?
First topic of the day. You may be wasting your time in your current relationship if the person who you are in a relationship with constantly violates your non-negotiables.
That's good.
It's very good. But what are non-negotiables?
Absolutely. So, non-negotiables, I feel, are standards that you set or parameters that you set for yourself. And that you may have explained to your partner or significant others that these are things that I value. These are lines that I don't want crossed in certain situations. And now I've set those, and now those are my non-negotiables. And what I'm saying is, if these things are crossed, then I'm out no matter what. Like, this is a non-negotiable, meaning I'm not negotiating this whatsoever. I'm not going back and forth. If this is done, then I'm out. And I think, well, I won't get into what happens, but go ahead. Did you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think that you perfectly summed that up. That's exactly what a non-negotiable is.
Okay, so why? Tell me, because I know you said we kind of broke these things in our relationship. I know I'm probably a huge non-negotiable breaker. So let's talk about it.
I think I was in our relationship.
Yeah.
I wanted to, and I don't know the direction you were wanting to go. I wanted to kind of identify what some possible non-negotiables could be.
Okay, let's do it.
And why or how violating those can actually be detrimental to your relationship.
Yeah.
I just wrote down a couple, but like one that it's a little more than a couple, but you know, one that I have is if your significant other, when you guys get into a intense fellowship, new word, you need to write that down.
New phrase, yes. Intense fellowship. Yes. We no longer call them arguments; they're called intense fellowships. You'll learn more about that later on in the series, though.
Yes, but when you're in an intense fellowship with your significant other, and they yell at you. For me, that's a non-negotiable.
Right.
Don't yell at me.
Right.
Because that's just gonna escalate me. Like that's not. You're shaking your head. Yes.
I
you
agree.
witnessed that.
I agree.
Don't yell at me. Or things like cursing at me.
Right.
Don't curse at me. I didn't call you. You know my name.
Early on in our relationship, you were definitely a curser, curse me out type.
I didn't curse at you. I cursed while I was talking. But I didn't call you out your name. No. Like, you little MF
No,
I ain't do none of that. I'm saying don't curse at me.
Okay, but there was some like FUs and all that stuff. But I mean,
definitely. But I'm pretty sure I've heard some from you as well.
Probably Just go.
Another non-negotiable. If your significant other puts you down.
Absolutely.
That's a huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. And it could be, subtle little sly remarks, but it could also just be blatant with you're horrible, you suck, this thing. But anybody who's breaking you down just to build you up, they don't love you.
Exactly.
Because I'm not gonna break down someone that I love. Like, I'm gonna constantly encourage them, because the world is going to beat you down enough.
Exactly.
You know, you need some sanctity, some safe space that you can go to.
Exactly.
Where you're not being beat down.
That's key right there. So understanding that in your relationship, that should be your sanctuary, not as you worship this person, but that should be a place where you can go and feel welcome and feel loved and feel safe to be able to reveal certain things and not feel like you're being judged or attacked or you're going to be put down for it later. So I think that was key what you just said there. That was
absolutely
good. What
Message. Last one I just got is just the person hits or pushes you.
Okay.
Don't put your hands on me.
Okay, because you definitely broke that early on in our relationship. Relationship.
You did as well.
How?
You don't remember putting your hands on me?
Like
and
how?
Shaking me?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about
You don't
that.
remember?
No, I don't know about that.
recall. And let me tell you, he got that combo that came right after.
I think that was, I don't know about that one.
Listen, look at God.
If you say so, I don't know about that one. But anyway, so let's go into like, what does, like when you break certain non-negotiables, what happens? Why is this even an issue when somebody is breaking your non-negotiables? First of all, when you set a non-negotiable, what typically happens is we end up compromising those things, right? So we end up getting to a point where it's like, oh, it's okay. It is what it is, or, you know, it's not really a non-negotiable for us. So whatever you set as your non-negotiable, it needs to be your non-negotiable.
Right.
And if they're constantly being broken, then I think that should spark some type of conversation or indicator, right? So for me, my first reason why this is so important is about value and respect. If you're breaking my non-negotiable, do you really value me? Do you really value the things that I value, my personal space? Do you value the things that I love or my future? Like, do you value my opinion, my thoughts? Like, if you're constantly breaking those boundaries that I've asked you not to, like, for instance, I know one of the things that you were talking about is, like, not using your dry towel. It's like, babe, can you please stop doing this and all of that stuff? And I was like, babe, it's nothing. What are you talking about? Even though that, to me, it seems so small, but to you, it's like, no, this is my personal boundary, or this is my personal space right here. All right, this is not up for negotiation. I don't want you using my towel. Like, that's not cool. And so people tend to compromise those things. But if you have somebody that's not willing to respect your voice and say, you know what, you did ask me to stop doing that, I'm going to be intentional in not doing that, then that should probably be an indicator that you may be wasting your time a little bit.
Absolutely. I think it comes down to the person, or the feeling that I get when these things happen is that the person just doesn't value you and your voice.
Right.
You know, because it's like, if I have taken the time out to say this thing, you know, about whatever, I say this is very important to me, and then the individual who I'm speaking with constantly just violates that or goes against that, you didn't hear me. There's no way. You don't value the words that are coming out of my mouth. Right.
Absolutely. I agree. And so that's one of my main things for violate. Also, when you're violating non-negotiables, I feel like it creates a disconnect. And sometimes, I don't know, with me, I'm not going to hold that in. I'm like, I want to try to resolve the issue or whatever, but it does create a disconnect of maybe you stop liking this person, you stop feeling the same way, you feel devalued, you feel less than, you like this person is making you feel some type of way, and that's almost like a little abusive. Right. It may not be overtly abusive, but inadvertently it's like there's some abuse going on because I verbalize that I don't like this. And so you constantly doing it, yes, it caused me to disconnect from you. It caused me to get in my box. It causes me to get in a space where I'm like, I'm not valued in this relationship. Now I'm feeling some type of way. Now I feel less than about myself because I'm not being heard. So definitely that disconnect is there.
Absolutely. Not only that, I think that in violating these things, in me voicing my opinion and speaking up and being bold enough to say, this is where I need you to respect this line.
Right.
And you blatantly and constantly, and I'm not saying you as in you, dear, but in your significant other, blatantly and constantly going against that, it's just overall demeaning. Like, it's overall belittling. And honestly, can a person who is someone who says that they are here for the long haul, says they're here to lift you up and to love you, can they truly love and want and need if they're constantly demeaning you? Now, are there relationships where people are constantly demeaning to their mate?
Right. Absolutely.
But what that speaks to me is that person has some brokenness that needs to be healed.
Right.
And I'm not the person to do that.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, you clearly need to be healed. And let's dive in. Did you have something else you wanted to?
Yeah, I had one more thing, but go ahead into it.
Okay, because I was going to say, and this is a little shift. So if you need to, we can go back to that one. But my shift was going to be, we identified early on, these are things that we did.
Yeah.
These are things that we did. We're married.
Right.
9 years in.
Right.
Now, most of these things happened prior to marriage or within the first year or so of marriage.
Right.
But we're still here.
Right.
So does that mean that we're wasting our time in our marriage? Are we wasting our time in our relationship?
That's good.
How are we going to make it?
That's good. I think though, what we have to look at in those things is having conversations, which communication is key. We just took a Strength Finders. What is it called?
The Gallup Strength Finder 2.0. Yes.
All right. So we were reading this book, Strength-Based Parenting, just because we're always at a point where we're trying to grow each other, grow one, individually, and just be better parents, be better people. And so we took a Strength Finders test, and both of us had communication as one of our strengths. Is that correct? Right. And so I feel like early on, the best thing that even in those times that we did was we were always able to come back and communicate and apologize and be intentional about, hey, all right, I'm going to work towards doing this. And we were able to see changes in one another. So that's why we said, like, the way you're wasting your time is constant. Like, there's a constant violation of non-negotiables. Like, you're constantly having the same conversation. You're constantly saying, yo, don't yell at me. You're constantly saying, don't curse at me. Don't use my secrets against me. Don't put your hands on me. All of these things. And they keep happening.
And you don't see any relief in the near future.
Yes. There's no anything. There's no change. There's no growth. There's no any effort towards it. Then that's the indicator for me. I do believe that if someone breaking non-negotiables, I felt like as a man, it was important for you to teach me how to love you. It was important for you to show me, all right, this is what I need during this time. This is what I need when I'm happy. This is what I need when I'm sad. This is what I need when I'm frustrated. This is what I need you not to do, not to touch, all of those things. And I have to start respecting those things.
I think that applies as a woman as well.
Absolutely.
I think that, we can sit here right now and we can talk and we can even kind of chuckle like, nah, yep, I gave him that 1-2 combo. Yep, right. He shook me. That's not joking or making light of domestic violence.
For sure.
That's real.
Right.
But in that, I would like to say that what we identified is that the growth and the opportunity for growth that came out of those situations was stronger and bigger and better and necessary for our just overall human growth and possibility.
Absolutely.
Yes, early on in our relationship, we would argue. I come from a household where
intense though.
Yeah. This was before it became intense fellowship.
Yeah.
This
is all before marriage. This is pre-marriage. Like, these are intense. Like, just.
And I came from a house where that's what you do. Mm-hmm. If there's an offense, if there's something you don't like, you yell at the top of your lungs and you let them know, and you lash out aggressively.
Right.
So you may like one time, we broke up and I cut up all the stuff he gave me. Like everything he gave me, and I pawned the jewelry.
Yeah.
I got rid of all of it.
Yeah.
We were back together in about a week.
It's so unhealthy.
And so I actually, you know, I still think about that bracelet that I pawned.
Yeah.
You know, I still think about those teddy bears that I cut up. Mm-hmm. I think about our pictures, our engagement pictures.
Yep.
I cut up and got rid of. Spent a lot of money on it.
Yep.
You know, when you're in a space where you're hurting, you hurt other people. And absolutely. I think that is what happens. So it is possible to have these non-negotiables, for them to be violated and for growth to happen if there is a potential for growth within both parties.
Absolutely.
If you're with a person who says, this is who I am and this is who I'm always going to be, and they live that out,
I think that's a huge indicator.
You're wasting your time.
Yeah. Or I think another indicator, and this was the difference. Like, for instance, baby grows up. She grew up in a household where I grew up in the same household. We yell at each other, all of that stuff. But in her household, there was no apologies exchanged. There was no making amends or anything like that. So, one, if the person is not violating your non-negotiables and they're not even willing to make amends or take ownership for that, which was one of my non-negotiables, you have to be able to take ownership. If you can't do that, then that's letting me know, like, okay, you're not even trying to grow. You're not even trying to get to the next level in our relationships, or the fact that, like, let's say you're these things keep happening, whatever, like you were just saying, we were constantly doing, and then we get to a point where it's like, I'm not acknowledging, or I'm constantly saying that, you just got to deal with it. Now I'm asking you to compromise your non-negotiables. If you get to that point where somebody is blatantly like asking you to compromise your standard or how you want to be treated, you're wasting your time.
Absolutely.
And I will stand behind that. I think the difference was, not to give an excuse of us being young, but literally we didn't know how to love.
Right.
We didn't know, like, we grew up seeing yelling and wait, my grandmother and my pop, they yell at each other. Oh, this is love. Okay, cool. I could do that. This is how we resolve issues. These are the things we do. But once you get to a point where you're with the person and they say, no, that's not how I want to handle things. Like right now, in our relationship right now, they're probably, I can't even think of the last intense fellowship that we've had where it did not go, where it went unresolved. Like, that's something that we do. That's a non-negotiable in our marriage, right? We don't allow things to go unresolved. We're going to come back. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to exchange apologies. We're going to hear each other. We're going to do all of those things. Why? Because I value you. I value your non-negotiable. I value your standard, and you value mine as well.
Yes.
And we also value our marriage and our relationship. So that means that one of our prides or both prides have to be gone. And if somebody is saying, well, shoot, that's just me. This is who I am. I should be able to use whatever towel I want to. Well, I'm a grown man. I'll cuss if I want to. I curse at whoever. Man, no, you ain't gonna curse at me, though. And if you can't respect that from the beginning, then you got to understand how much further will that person take it later on.
Absolutely.
Does it have to get to the point of the two-piece or the shake or whatever the case may be? Does it need to get to that point before you realize, like, what the heck is happening right here?
Absolutely. I think one huge point that was sparked from what you said is, something that you taught me. And
okay, then we get credit. We getting credit on the audio.
And I believe you said you got it from your father, but just that people will only treat you how you let them.
Exactly.
And so, if you're in a situation, in a relationship where you don't feel good by the way that the person treats you, you feel as though you should be treated differently, and you may not even know what differently looks like, because I think that was another thing for us.
That's good.
Early on in our relationship, we didn't know what differently really looked like, but I knew you're not gonna yell at me. Like, that's not gonna happen.
That's good. That's good.
But you just, something within you says, this isn't it. Like, this isn't where I want to be.
Yeah.
Then you have to set that standard.
That's good.
You have to not allow people to treat you in that manner.
That's
and
good.
that doesn't mean you have to be aggressive like we were. That means that maybe you just speak up and you just say, I don't like it when you do that.
Yep.
I don't like it when you talk to me like that. Please don't talk to me like that. I don't disrespect you that way.
Yep.
I would ask that you don't disrespect me that way. You know, but having
That's
those
good,
conversations in your tone and in your language is beneficial. Otherwise, the alternative is, which happens every day, you stay in a relationship where you are demeaned and you are treated in a way contrary to how you feel you should be treated.
Exactly. And that actually helps bring back to my last point, which was, if you allow that, then what you're doing is allowing the person to actually steal from you. They're stealing confidence. They're stealing pride. They're stealing assurance. They're stealing validation. They're stealing so much from you, and you're allowing it. And then that will go into affecting your dreams, your goals, your drive, your outlook of life, all of those things. Like, it affects those things, especially since we've been having a conversation of, you are like the 5 people you hang around, right? And if one of those people that you hang around is the closest person to you, it demeans you, then that's what you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what you are to them, and that's what you're going to see yourself as. And so we got to stop allowing people to steal from us. So I would say the takeaway from this is, one, what I'm hearing is, if you're in a relationship and any of these things have like kind of sparked you in any way, I think it's time to have a conversation with your significant other or spouse, whoever the case may be, and start to set some non-negotiables with one another. You know what? Something that I told baby from the beginning is like, yo, I don't like the word stupid. The word stupid is not said. If you ask my daughter right now, if you say stupid around her, she's going to look at you like, ooh, you just said a bad word. We don't say the word stupid, because that's something that I heard in my home, and I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, we want to use our words to uplift, to edify, to validate. And so that was one thing that anytime that was said, if it was said on accident, if it was said jokingly, like, I don't let people even jokingly say, oh my God, oh, you so stupid. No, I'm not. Like, you will see, even the people closest to me, I will correct them. And honestly, I even put that same value on other people. I don't even let other people call themselves stupid. Like, when somebody says, oh my God, I'm stupid. No, you're not. You're far from stupid. Like, that's a non-negotiable for me. I will never give in on that non-negotiable. And so that's a conversation that we had to have. So I feel like in your relationship, you guys should start having that conversation of, what are your non-negotiables? Teach me how to love you. Teach me not to cross the boundaries that you set for yourself. And I want to uplift and validate those boundaries rather than tread the line of them or completely cross them, because I want us to be together for the long haul.
Absolutely. The final note that I would say is that you said something so key, in that, teach me how to love you. And I think that really, no, stop. You never know the words to a song. Just stop, please. So the thing that was key in that was just that I think back when I was 20, I was 22.
That's the first one I got you. Okay, go ahead.
Being a 22-year-old woman, I didn't know how to love me, and so. I couldn't teach you something that I didn't have.
That's good.
But what I had was a whole bunch of depression. What I had was a whole bunch of anger. I had low self-esteem. And so that's why I was going through these cycles with you. It's because I was broken, same way that you were broken. And so what happened, and what that turning point was for me, was a situation where I realized enough was enough. I'm tired of feeling broke. I'm tired of feeling used. I'm tired of feeling hurt by those who I feel are closest to me. And so I need to figure out, what do I value? I need to figure out, what do I want? What makes me tick? And so I took some time it was just about a month, I think, because we had broken up. And I took a month of just pouring into me.
Yep.
What does Melody want to do? I took myself on dates every Saturday.
Yeah, right.
I read positive affirmations to myself. I just figured out, what do I like? What do I want to do? What do I want to be?
And I remember that, and I would get into your car, and you would have like the little index cards to like say, I am this, I'm this.
Absolutely.
And all of that. Yeah.
I took every lie that ran through my head. I was ugly, I was fat, I was worthless. I took every lie that ran through my head, and maybe one day I still have the card, so maybe one day I'll read it. But and I just put the opposite, because I know that God sees me as different. And so I just needed to, I didn't believe it, but it was like a fake it till you make it situation. And I said it enough to where it began to manifest in my life, where now I had non-negotiables.
Right.
I had, don't yell at me. Don't curse at me.
I see you.
Don't put me down.
I see what you did there.
Don't hit me.
That was good. I see
Don't do these things to me. And when he came back, he being words, because he always come back, you know what I'm saying? But
this girl.
But when he came back, he seen a new woman.
Absolutely.
And right away, he didn't...
and I tried to use the same language, same moves, all of that stuff.
And I wasn't going.
And
I wasn't going. And
key.
He didn't know what hit him. And because I chose to set my values, it forced him to set his.
Yep.
But this is key as well.
And to meet yours. Yeah.
Yes, and to meet mine. Set his own values and to meet mine. But this was also key. I had to come to the realization that in me setting my values, if he chose to violate, if he chose to not meet him, I would be okay with that. Because there's some man, there's some person, there's somebody who was made for me who's going to exceed my expectations.
That's good.
And so if he's not willing to even meet me, it's all right. I'll be all right.
That's good, man.
God bless you, though.
That's good. That's good. And can I give you, ladies, a secret? A woman with standards that puts that, oh my God, you may think like, dang, I'm about to put all these standards and all this stuff and that's going to scare them. No, I promise you that's more attractive than anything. That's
to someone who's willing to meet that, and to someone who's there for you. Now, there's these little lames who don't want nothing but a good time, and you can move on.
True, that's legit. But I'm talking about, like, if you will know that you have a man that is into you, that values you, by you setting standards and him feeling like, oh yeah, that's okay, let's get it. It's more of for me, it was more of a turn on. It is more oh shoot, okay, there's value. Okay, now, because it took me back to the chase. It took me back to, constantly having to meet and raise the bar for myself in order to maintain our relationship, in order to make sure that you're secure, and it just does so much.
It took you back to when you were stalking me.
We won't say stalking.
That's a whole nother show, though. Let's just keep moving. I married my stalker, y'all, and I made it. Go ahead.
I did. I was doing research, y'all, but it's not a stalker. We'll get to that in another episode.
They gonna listen to this and say, well, their relationship, I don't think I want to emulate that.
That's what I said. They're gonna say, like, shaking and two-piece combos,
stalking and
cursing and all this. Listen, I'm telling you.
God is real.
That's why we said this is going to be real life, real love, real family. Like, that's what we're doing. And so this is our first episode. Let us know what you thought. Like, make comments in the comment section telling us, what other topics would you want us to talk about. Did you enjoy the first episode? Do you agree with the things we said? Do you disagree? It's okay to disagree and come to a different conclusion, have different perspectives. Like, so let's get it, man. I'm excited to see what you guys thought about this first podcast, and then we'll be right back at you on next week. I'm excited about the topic next week. I wanted to do that as the first one. This topic that we're going to talk about next week, but baby trumps me, so trumps me in that. So it's all good, all right? And so tune in for the next episode of
Real Life, Real Love, Real Family.
All right, this your man, Words Taylor.
And your girl, Melody Taylor.
Let's get it. Ugh. You gotta do the
I'm not doing a
You gotta do the
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.